Hello, I'm Wrench Monkey, and this is a little tale I like to call Diesel Karma. Set your mind back to, if you were never there, come with me then, but I was back in West Germany, summer of 1989, and in at least one other video, I've mentioned a airman who went from senior airman screw up to sergeant screw up. Let me just put it this way. When NATO came by to inspect, they took his toolbox away and farmed him out to something that he regarded as a little more macho. Right, they farmed him out to the security forces. They stuck him in a foxhole, gave him a weapon that couldn't shoot, and put him on a fence line where there was not ever going to be anybody show up, so he couldn't open his mouth, say something dumb, and cost us a gig with NATO. Okay. There's a machine in the Air Force inventory, or at least there was. I don't know if they're replaced with anything. It's called an MB2. This thing is a truly massive monster. The wheels by themselves, the tires, just the tires, never mind the rims, are 350 pounds. Okay? In total, dry, without fuel or an operator, it's 42,000 pounds. All right? The side plates on this thing, where your car has fenders, this thing has big flat slabs of steel, 12 feet long, 4 feet high, 2 inches thick, and when they went to cut out holes for the wheels, they didn't even bother beveling the torch cuts. They just painted it green and called it a day. Okay? The only way this thing's ever going to attain a speed of higher than 45 mile an hour is if it gets dropped from 10,000 feet. Okay? Its job is to tow aircraft painfully slowly. You know, it's got a gigantic diesel motor, and it's fun to drive. I mean, you can drive everything coordinated. You can drive it like a car. You can drive it where the back end is disconnected. So now it really gets interesting. But it's never gonna go fast. All right. And since it's towing things that are worth multiple millions of dollars, it doesn't have a suspension apart from the tires. So the one thing you don't want this thing to do is isolate when it's going over anything that's not a pool table, which is like all of the flight line. Okay, cool. The front and back, where you would have a bumper, are three 3-inch plates of steel that are 3-inch thick, 10 feet wide, 4 feet high, laminated front and back. Okay, everything about this dang thing is industrial. Well, underneath it, remember I mentioned about it like oscillating? Really a problem when you've got like 60 ton of fuel in a multi-million-dollar aircraft that's starting to slosh because it's going over a rough patch. All right? Because that goes into the towing tongue. It actually will make this thing move, and now they set up a harmonic. So underneath this thing, the engine is in the back. In the front, there's a 2-ton steel hydraulically actuated counterweight. With me so far? Big, heavy, slow, hard to hurt. And not an engine bay in the world that can pick this thing up that isn't built to handle an Abrams tank. Okay? Well, this thing comes in. Specifically, it comes in because the hydraulics that work the counterweight underneath the front end of it have gone 100% Tango uniform. Guess who gets to fix this thing? The newly minted Sargent Ego. Okay. it should be straightforward. There's not that much to do. All right, you move the counterweight forward as far as it'll go. You get under it. You remove the hydraulics, hook them back up, test for leaks, send it back out the door. At least that's what's supposed to happen. This guy? Have you ever met one of these people that they don't just goof up, they don't just screw up, but they manage to get truly artistic about it? This guy was under there, and he's taking, there's like 6 nuts going over 6 bolts. He's got a big old wrench in there because thankfully whoever built this thing was kind enough to leave space to work on it. I know that's an issue when you talk to jet engine mechanics or anybody that has to work inside of an airframe. You would a horror show talk to somebody that has to go inside the fuel bladders inside, let's say, a wing of an aircraft. Ugh. Not a job for the claustrophobic. Or if you're more than 100 pounds, if you're more than 90 pounds. Anyway, so Sargent screw up. He takes off the right side bolt. He's still okay. He takes off one of the 2 top side bolts. He's still okay. He takes the bolt that's in the center. Now, again, 2-ton counterweight, 4,000 pounds. Underneath a vehicle that's 42,000 pounds. And this chowderhead manages to forget that gravity exists. Guess what? He's sitting here undoing one of the last 3 bolts on this thing, and the weight strips out like maybe a 1/4 inch, the last 3 threads, falls down, and he's under this damn thing. He forgot to put jack stands under it. It says that in the technical orders, which tells me he didn't read the damn things. Okay, so all of a sudden, I wasn't there. One of my friends, the guy that ran material control, Tech Sergeant Fattenberg, no, not his real name, but I got away with calling him that because he'd get Star Trek from the States, I'd buy the pizza. Cool. He finds me at the end of the day, still laughing. This happened at call it 10 o'clock in the morning. It's 5 o'clock in the evening, and he is still busting a gut. He's like, come here. You gotta hear this. Come here. Drags me into main shop and says, look under there. Just look. And you see this counterweight, bonk. And when it fell, it made a divot in the shop floor of a main shop that handles 10,000 pound and 40,000 pound vehicles. So the concrete in it is like 10 inches of pre-stressed concrete, and this thing managed to divot it. Chowderhead forgot to put jack stands under it. We have stands that could hold it because we have the machine in the inventory. Well, this isn't the last of what happens. See, because Sargent Chowderhead had a finger in one of the other bolt holes. And if you're starting to cringe right now, imagine how it was for everybody listening. Okay? You heard whomp. He uses a 2,000 pound weight and 42,000 pounds of Air Force equipment to amputate about a centimeter of his screw you finger. Well, guess what else happened? It's cramped under there. So he stands up, gives himself a concussion, So now his eyes are tearing. He's not thinking straight. So he goes, hits himself on the wrench on the way down. And everybody comes running over. Oh no! Comes over and sees him in like the posture of a cooked shrimp whimpering. So they drag his ass out. He's bleeding. Okay. So they call an ambulance. They haul his butt out. They try to save the finger. Well, it was too contaminated. And the doctors are like, look, nah. We're just going to trim back the bone to the joint, sew the skin up, hit you with a whole bunch of antibiotics, and send you out the door. This moron actually managed to have the balls. He treated it like a vacation. Pinched hit in a softball game. Got it dirty. And then went back in the hospital and damn near got wrote up for damaging government property. As he's in the hospital getting the IV drip into his good arm with antibiotics. Now, I'd like you to think on that the next time you're doing something that isn't quite so epically stupid. I hope you had a laugh. I'm the Wrench Monkey. Have a good day.